After the legacies of Plato and Aristotle, philosophy didn't die out. It actually changed. It evolved. In the Hellenistic period, roughly after the death of Alexander the Great, philosophy left the academy and entered the empire. Now, this was no longer just Athens. The Roman world was taking shape. Empires shifted, politics collapsed, and people, philosophers included, began to ask themselves, how do I live in a world I can't control? And the famous British American scholar Anthony A. Long has this to say about this time period. With the death of Aristotle, the center of philosophical gravity shifted from the academy to the individual. Hellenistic philosophy was no longer about discovering the cosmos, but about surviving it. The Hellenistic age wasn't just a footnote to classical thought, it was a natural development from ancient Greece. Yet, it was one marked by a profound shift. Philosophy, however, was still seen as a way of life. But in this new age, it became less about theoretical truth, less about contemplation on the cosmos, and more about survival, peace, and liberation from suffering. Plato's academy still stood, however, as long as Aristotle's Lyceum still taught. But now, new schools rose up to meet the souls in crisis, to challenge the problem of this period. Across the Greek and Roman world, a handful of schools emerged, each offering a different path to peace. The Academy, grounded in Plato's thought and dialectics, leaned towards virtue. The Lyceum, following Aristotle, focused on rational structure, observation, and man's pursuit towards the divine intellect. Epicurus's garden promised tranquility through simple pleasure and the absence of pain. Zeno's Stoa taught strength through virtue and acceptance of nature's order. The skeptics urged suspension of judgment as the only way to inner peace, and the cynics rejected wealth, comfort, and convention, choosing nature and virtue to be placed above all. Each school agreed on one thing, however: philosophy must bring freedom from evil. But how? How do you accomplish this goal? Well, that's where they differed radically. Modern academic philosophy asks, is this argument valid? Is this syllogism sound? But in the Hellenistic world, the question was, will this save your soul? Will this make you a more virtuous man? These schools weren't just lecture halls, they were communities of practice. Philosophy meant training the soul through dialectic exercises, debating, questioning, and sharpening the mind. A proposed thesis wasn't just a theory, it was a way of living. To be a Stoic, an Epicurean, a skeptic, an Aristotelian, a Platonist, or even a Neoplatonist was to commit your life to a system, a goal, and a vision of the good. Each school aimed at the same thing: a state of peace, free from evil. But how they got here diverged. Epicurus said, strip life down to its essentials. Cut the noise. Seek friendship, not fame. The Stoics said, you are part of nature. Accept faith and act with virtue. The Cynic said, leave the city. Leave possessions. Leave everything behind. Virtue is freedom from society. And the skeptics, they said, don't cling to anything, not even truth. Let go, and peace will follow. These weren't just ideas, they were ways of life: radical, dogmatic, demanding, but liberating. In our world today, we separate philosophy from philosophical discourse. But in the Hellenistic age, they were one and the same, interchangeable. These thinkers didn't write to impress, they lived to transform. And their question still echoes today. What kind of life frees us from fear, pain, and falsehood? The answers weren't easy, but they were sincere. And maybe, just maybe, they still are.